When Taehyung placed that kiss on Jungkook's neck, Jungkook didn't just get shy, his body betrayed him with a reaction that couldn't be faked. No matter how many excuses Taehyung deniers make, gestures don't lie, and that moment confirmed it all. During one of the most memorable concerts, Taehyung approached Jungkook from behind and placed a kiss on his neck. That act was witnessed by millions of people and generated an immediate reaction in Jungkook's body. His skin visibly prickled, a response that couldn't be controlled or acted upon. This wasn't part of a choreography or something planned. It was a free action, charged with intention, that caused an obvious change in Jungkook's body. The camera captured every second and left no room for doubt. Many people tried to deny the impact of the gesture. Some Jungkookers claimed that Jungkook reacted that way because Jimin was right next to him, but that doesn't hold up when you watch the rest of the concerts. Jungkook has been with all the members on many occasions, and he's never shown such an intense reaction as when Taehyung approaches him in such an intimate way. The human body doesn't lie. Goosebumps are an automatic response that reveals sensitivity, desire, or deep emotion. This isn't the first time Jungkookers have captured these kinds of moments. Every gesture, every glance, every approach between them carries a different weight. The kiss on the neck wasn't a game, it was a direct signal, expressed to the world, without filters and without the need for words. The fact that Jungkook became shy after the kiss further reinforces what he felt. He didn't look down by chance. He didn't move away out of discomfort. It was the natural reaction of someone who was feeling something strong and wants to hide it, but their body betrays them. How can you hide the fact that Jungkook turned his head just to blow a kiss to Taehyung, and then pretended nothing happened? In the middle of a game full of kisses to the fans, he chose to blow one directly to Taehyung, and he did so with an intention that leaves no doubt for any Taehyung fan. At an event where all the BTS members were blowing kisses to the audience as part of a game, an unexpected gesture occurred that caught the attention of those who carefully observe every interaction between Taehyung and Jungkook. While the others continued the game in general, Taehyung blew a very tender kiss toward the fans, and right after that, Jungkook turned his head directly toward him and responded with a clear kiss. The curious thing about this moment was that Jungkook tried to do it without attracting too much attention. He blew the kiss quickly and then looked back at the camera, trying to continue the game as if nothing had happened. The scene was evident. Jungkook wasn't simply playing along. His gaze sought Taehyung first, and then came the kiss. This marked a difference from what the others were doing. It wasn't a random or generic gesture. It was a specific reaction to Taehyung's kiss. Jungkook's head turn wasn't accidental. His gaze focused on only one person, and that was Taehyung. The rest of the group continued blowing kisses to the audience, but Jungkook, at that moment, paused to respond to the gesture he received. Many of those who refuse to accept what happens between them look for any explanation for these kinds of moments. They claim that Jungkook was just playing or that it was part of the overall act. But those who have followed his movements and gestures for years know how to recognize when there is real intention behind a simple movement. And what about when Taehyung had already shaken Jimin's hand, but still took Jungkook's again? It was a reflection of closeness that can't be acted out, a form of love that neither time nor distance has been able to hide. In one of the moments most closely watched by Taehyung fans, Jungkook is seen walking towards Seokjin to hug him. However, just before doing so, he reaches out to Taehyung and takes his hand. This change of action happens quickly, but with very clear intention. Jungkook chooses to give Taehyung his attention, making sure he's not left out of the gesture. It's not just any action. It's a way of including him and letting him know he's present, that he matters, even in a situation where he might have gone unnoticed. The way Jungkook holds Taehyung's hand isn't neutral either. He holds it for several seconds, in no hurry to let go. This prolonged physical contact expresses closeness and marks a type of connection that stands out from the rest. There's something about the way their hands are linked, the way there's no tension or discomfort. It's a sign of trust and habit. It's not a new gesture. It seems to have a history, one that has happened before, and one that comes naturally. Furthermore, Jungkook is known to have had a difficult time away from Taehyung due to military service. In that context, these kinds of gestures take on even greater significance. The fact that, even in small moments, Jungkook seeks to include Taehyung or get physically close to him reinforces the idea that there's a priority in this relationship. This isn't just ordinary behavior. He does it with whoever he wants to be around. And even when he's surrounded by others, his attention always returns to the same person. For a long time, there's been a segment of the fandom that tries to deny the clearest moments between Taehyung and Jungkook. Despite hundreds of video evidence, photos, and spontaneous physical reactions, many people continue to use weak arguments to justify what they don't want to accept. The kiss on the neck was a very strong example, but it wasn't the only one. What many call fan service is nothing more than a label to downplay what happens in public, and which they can't control. The curious thing is that when other members approach Jungkook, he never has the same reaction. There's no goosebumps, no visible changes. However, when it comes to Taehyung, Jungkook's body language changes completely. And this has been repeated many times. It's a constant pattern. But those who prefer to deny that Taehyung always find ways to justify every gesture, even if it means lying or distorting the obvious. Taehyung fans have witnessed multiple moments like this. They know it's not just a single kiss or a single reaction. It's the way they seek each other out, the way they look at each other, the silences they share, the closeness between them, and the details that can't be faked. Those who reject this evidence often resort to the argument that it's all part of a show, when in reality, there are many gestures beyond the control of the stage and any script. You can't hide something that's so clearly visible. When Taehyung approached Jungkook and gave him that kiss, he did so confidently, knowing it was something he could do. Jungkook didn't pull away, didn't protest, didn't set limits. On the contrary, his reaction showed that he was affected by what he had just felt. That intimacy isn't improvised. And although many people deny it, Taekook expresses itself through moments like this. There's an insistence on creating confusion to hide what's visible, but Taekookers understand this because they look beyond the show. They don't stay superficial. They know that this relationship doesn't need labels or external approval. It's there, revealing itself little by little. And each time he denies it more forcefully, his actions speak louder. These aren't theories, these are facts that continue to happen, live and in front of everyone. After Jungkook blew that kiss toward Taehyung, his expression changed for a moment. It was as if he knew he'd done something he shouldn't highlight. So, he quickly turned his face toward the camera, continued blowing kisses to the audience, and acted as if nothing else had happened. That reaction wasn't accidental. It was a way of hiding what he'd just done. These kinds of gestures have been common in his behavior. Whenever there's a special exchange between the two, one of them tries to hide it, although for Taehyung fans, it's impossible to ignore. The fandom that opposes the relationship, especially the Jungkook fans, tends to react quickly with arguments that seek to minimize these moments. They say everyone was blowing kisses, that it was a group thing, that Jungkook wasn't looking at anyone in particular. But the truth is, the videos show otherwise. The direction of the face, the exact moment, and the entire sequence confirm that the kiss wasn't directed at the audience or another member. It was a direct response to Taehyung's gesture. The idea that everything is an illusion or a misinterpretation falls apart when you look at the details closely. These kinds of reactions always appear whenever a gesture between Taehyung and Jungkook draws too much attention. When the evidence is clear, the strategy is to deny it or say it's staged. But those who analyze without prejudice know that the number of times these moments occur can't be reduced to a coincidence. There's a pattern. And that pattern has a name: Taehyung. Trying to cover up the obvious only shows how much one wants to deny something that can't be hidden. Jungkook and Taehyung have often shown small signs that, when added together, create a visible story. It doesn't matter if they do it discreetly. Every gesture counts. And every time someone tries to erase what happens between them, the presence of these moments becomes stronger. The evidence doesn't disappear. It remains recorded. It is analyzed again and again. And most importantly, there will always be Taekookers observing every detail, recording every glance, and finding in these simple gestures confirmation of something that needs no words. In another video, also shared and analyzed by many Taekook fans, Jungkook tries to hold Taehyung's hand while they're in a group dynamic. However, just at that moment, Taehyung high-fives Jimin. Even so, almost immediately, Taehyung reaches for the contact again and manages to take Jungkook's hand. This gesture doesn't go unnoticed. It was brief, but very clear. Despite the interruption with another member, Jungkook's priority returned. This type of nonverbal communication seems to be repeated more and more between them. They use gestures, touches, and small movements that show how they are always attentive to each other. The way they hold hands isn't casual. On this occasion, after letting go of Jungkook's hand, Taehyung still keeps one of his hands on his. There was no need to do it, but he did. The gestures they share always occur fluidly. There's no tension or insecurity. They look at each other, touch each other, and understand each other as if they were speaking a language no one else knows. This type of interaction creates a space where what others around them are doing doesn't matter. Their attention remains focused on each other. And while many try to justify these scenes by saying it's out of habit or part of the group dynamic, the details show otherwise. No one else acts with as much intention or consistency toward another person as they do toward each other. Furthermore, this moment in which Taehyung reconnects with Jungkook, even after having interacted with someone else, reflects a constant: they don't let external interruptions sever their bond. If something separates them for even a second, they find a way to reunite. And this has happened many times, even in public settings or in front of cameras. These types of actions are very evident to those who observe without prejudice. With each repeated gesture, with each contact maintained longer than necessary, the connection becomes harder to hide. Jungkook and Taehyung accompany each other in ways that are different from the rest of the group. They're always on the lookout for ways to get closer or stay in touch, even for a few seconds. And that has created a series of tests that many can no longer deny. It's not something that happens once. It's something that continues. Even now, with the distance enforced by military service, Taekookers hope for more moments that confirm what's already evident, that Taehyung and Jungkook are still meant for each other.